Cheers. Welcome back to my channel, World War Problems. Today I have a treat for you. Today we're going to be talking about UFOs, or as government says, UAPs. So, UFOs, what are those? Unidentified flying objects, or like I said, government says unidentified anomalous phenomena. So, yeah, so that's a tongue twister. That's why they just say UAPs. So, yeah, so today I thought it was very interesting. I saw a video the other day by News Nation, and I don't think a lot of people have seen this video. So I just wanted to share it out, and we're gonna kind of go through it together and discuss what we think, and if we can either maybe debunk some of the stuff or confirm, or just use our critical thinking and think for ourselves, because you know what, that's still legal. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so here we are. Start the video, and here we go.
Bombshell claims from a military whistleblower. UFO wreckage recovered by the U.S. kept classified by a secret government program for decades. Tonight, a world television exclusive you will only see on News Nation. Welcome to Elizabeth Vargas Reports, earning your trust every night. UFOs exist. The U.S. government found quite a number of them, and they are indeed of non-human origin. Those are the explosive allegations from a former intelligence officer tonight in a whistleblower complaint that the Inspector General is taking very seriously. 36-year-old Air Force veteran.
So as you saw back there, I'm just going to rewind the video here a little bit. So these videos, if you're not familiar, this video here was taken, I think back in 2015, or it doesn't really say on this video per se, but the military has been taking videos of UFOs for a very long time. And just a few years ago, they came out and basically said, yeah, they're real. Yeah, there's these things flying around out there. We don't know exactly what they are, or what they're doing out there. But too many pilots were coming out and saying, hey, I see these things flying next to me and whizzing past me, and there's no explanation for this, so what's going on here? So years past, military generals or whatever, they would tell these guys to kind of like, hey, just keep it quiet, just keep it to yourselves, and just do your mission and shut up, basically. So, but now, it's come to the point where I don't know if these phenomena is happening more often, or they're just seeing more of them because we have more planes up in the air, or what's going on. But so there was a lot of pressure for the military to release this evidence, because it was basically getting to the point where they either had to admit to these pilots that yes, there's something out there, or they would have to like ground these pilots because they would consider them crazy or something. And they didn't want to ground all their pilots, so they came out with this stuff. That's my personal feeling. And so yeah, so they came out with these videos showing these weird objects, and of course they're always blurry. You can't really tell what's going on. So I don't know, how legit this stuff is. So let's keep going.
That the Inspector General is taking very seriously. 36-year-old Air Force veteran David Grush is exposing what he calls a top secret military program that has reportedly found wreckage of fully intact UFOs. The government now calls them UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena. For years, there have been whispers and rumors that the government had aircraft of non-human origin. This report is the first evidence it might be true. The Inspector General has called Grush's complaint urgent and credible. Tonight, we have a world television exclusive interview with the whistleblower, in which he claims we not only have the aircraft, but the government has been keeping much of it secret from Congress and from the public. News Nation's senior national correspondent Brian Enton is here with the story, and this is a blockbuster.
It is a blockbuster. It's really hard to wrap your mind around this. I've been working on this for the past couple of weeks. I'm still having a hard time processing all of it. All over the last couple of years, it sort of became mainstream to discuss UFOs. The government has released videos. They've acknowledged that we don't know what some of this stuff is out there that we have on camera, but this really takes it all to another level.
So I'm going to stop right there. So I think it's always interesting when you see any journalist talk about UFOs. And it's always kind of funny how they always play the devil's advocate, and they always kind of like, play it like, well, I don't really know if I'm, believing what I'm seeing or what, could be some sort of conspiracy. I was watching some other videos where some journalists were talking about this very man here, this very a whistleblower, and they were literally coming out right out the gate and saying, "I don't believe in aliens. I don't believe they exist. I don't believe in UFOs. They can explain away everything. Everything could just be some Chinese weather balloon, and so therefore nothing's real." So I just think that's kind of interesting. So keep that in mind.
For the very first time, the world is about to hear from a former high-level U.S. intelligence officer who says the government has some of the unidentified craft in its possession. He is revealing these exclusive details about the secret government program.
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
We have all seen these blurry videos of unidentified flying objects. Video evidence, if you will, that old tales of UFOs may not all
So
be
these are the videos I was
conspiracy
talking about.
theories. In recent years, Congress starting an official U.S. government unidentified aerial phenomena task force, recently renamed the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution
So after they
Office,
came
or
out with these
AARO.
videos, they
And
came up with
now in
this
a
task
News Nation
force.
exclusive, David Grush, an Air Force veteran, former member of that task force, and veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, is formally blowing the whistle on secrets he says no one has ever shared publicly before.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence officials in the US defense and intelligence establishment.
Yes, I was.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
Grush sitting down with award-winning investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who's reporting for News Nation and has spent years reporting on the UFO question.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have space.
So that's very interesting. Okay, so he's claiming that there is a group out there that's a government entity that's actively collecting UFOs that are non-human, and so basically, he's saying that UFOs exist right now. So now what I like to do is look at his facial expressions, stuff like that, see if he's telling the truth. To be honest, I've watched this video many times, and it's really hard to say, because it's he could just be nervous or whatever, but it is something to keep in mind. So so he's basically coming out and saying, yes, we have these agencies that collect crashed and landed UFOs. So very interesting.
Spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No. I thought it was totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have plenty of current and former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me they were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof, that there was in fact a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
Grush alleges the U.S. government has recovered non-human craft for decades. He's filed a whistleblower complaint saying he gave what he calls the classified proof to Congress and the.
So let's go back a little bit. So he's saying that the government has been collecting these things for decades. And so basically, he was a part of a task force to investigate UFOs. But apparently, the same agency he's working for is keeping information from itself. So that seems kind of fishy. You know what I mean? Why are certain people privy to certain information and other people aren't? And I think, this has been, a long time secret, for a very long time. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's keep going. Let's back up a little bit.
U.S. government has recovered non-human craft for decades. He's filed a whistleblower complaint saying he gave what he calls the classified proof to Congress and the Intelligence Community Inspector General. NewsNation has confirmed David Grush's credentials and resume. We've not seen or verified the alleged proof he says he's provided to investigators. He says he can't show us the proof for national security reasons. He also tells us he's not seen photos of the alleged craft himself, but has talked extensively with other intelligence officials who have.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth.
So basically what he's saying is that he's collected all this classified information from other sources and he's given it to Congress, right, as a whistleblower. And of course, we can't see any of it, right? So we have to basically just take this guy's word for it. So it's kind of interesting, do we believe him yet? I don't know. I think remains to be seen. We'll see.
Everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
Okay, that is a very interesting topic there. So he is saying now that the reporter was asking, hey, so you're saying that the government's been lying to us all these years? And he's saying, yeah, there's basically an active disinformation campaign going on, which is very disturbing because, why are they lying to us, right? And really, is this that hard to believe? You know what I mean? Do you think that the media and all these people tell us the truth all the time? No. I can guarantee you 100%, right? That they keep a lot of information from us because they either feel like, we can't handle the truth or whatever, you know what I mean? So, it might go against, you might think differently about them. Because really, if somebody came out and said, oh yeah, aliens are coming down every day and abducting guys, what would you do? Would you start, looking up in the sky every 2 seconds, all paranoid and start shooting things, flying in the air? So what's, or would you just live your daily life and not worry about it, right? So I think a lot of it, when it comes to the government, they don't trust the public with a lot of stuff because they just want us to be, they just want us to live our lives. They just want things to be normal. They want us to pay our taxes. They want us to, go to work every day, and, pay our bills and, watch our Netflix and eat, and drink beer and whatever else and have fun. And they just want, keep the economy going, right? Because if they knew, let's say the world was going to end in a year or 10 years or something like that, why would you want to go to work if you knew that the world was going to end in a year or whatever? You know what I mean? So that's why they want to just keep things, quiet. That way you just keep going to work and whatever, which isn't always a bad thing. You know what I mean? So it's, I think sometimes, most people can understand that, some information, we just don't need to know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to know, when some random leader crapped his pants or something like that. You know what I mean? In some weird country, right? I don't need to know that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna, live my daily life, and if he wants to crap his pants, that's his deal. And but right now we're talking about aliens and UFOs, so let's get back into it.
Are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well,
non-human?
naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
So that's interesting. So he's actually saying right there that they've recovered dead alien pilots from these aircraft. So that is a bold statement right there. And yeah, let's keep going.
It's also harder for people to wrap their minds around the concept of a crashed object from somewhere else. It's easier to accept that, yeah, we see things in the sky that we can't explain.
Journalist Leslie Kean broke Rush's whistleblower story this morning in the debrief. Ms. Kean's career has been mainstream and credible, having written a series of reports on UFOs in the New York Times dating back to 2017. He has the credentials, but there's no documents that he's handed over. There's no pictures. And as a journalist, you want to see documents, you want to see pictures. Does that raise a red flag?
Not at all, Brian. I mean, you mean documents that actually describe the craft?
Correct, yeah, like government documents, or to be able to see it for ourselves.
Of course, don't we all want that?
So I thought that was very interesting that, of course, journalists, they are so easily dismissive when they don't have the hard facts like in front of their face. Like, unless that alien is literally like breathing over their shoulder and ready to abduct them, they're not going to believe it, right? So they want the hard facts in their face. But I found it really interesting that this other journalist was like, yeah, we believe people all the time that, don't show us anything, which, I totally believe, because, if you watch the media in the last, 4, 5, 6 years, they get a lot of stuff wrong because they don't have any facts, right? They just believe some random dude that calls them up one day and says, oh yeah, I'm some sort of source, and I don't want to give my name out, and I'm just going to give you all this bogus garbage, and you're going to print it in newspaper, and so we can, that way we can ruin people's lives. but no, this lady here is going to explain, why she thinks this is credible. Okay, let me just back it up just a little bit.
The problem with that is all of that information is classified. As we said in the story, everything that Grush told Congress and told the
super annoying.
Inspector General
I think
of both the IC, the Intelligence Community Inspector General, and the Department of Defense Inspector General, all of that information is classified.
In 2017, Kean reported exclusively in the New York Times that the Pentagon had a secret UFO program. 3 years later, the Pentagon confirmed her story. Her latest report is even more explosive, but Kean says she has multiple sources who back up Grush's story.
I believe it because of all the sources I have who have told me the same thing. So who am I to doubt these very, very high-level people who have been inside these programs for decades, have done their work, and are all telling me the same thing? I mean, I don't think there's some kind of conspiracy among all these people who don't know each other to make something like this up.
So I've got to be blunt about this. Yeah. You're not making this up. This is not a lie.
No, absolutely not.
Because everybody watching this right now is looking at your face.
Mm-hmm.
True.
They're going, is this guy for real?
I am for real. And I'm sitting here at great personal risk and obvious professional risk by talking to you today.
And just within the last 10 minutes or so,
So I thought I've watched that section of that video many times, and looking at his face and what I felt, and it's hard to tell if he's telling the truth per se or not, but one thing you got to think about with whistleblowers is a whole another thing, right? So if let's say you have a uh, anonymous source, right? Remember I was talking about anonymous sources? They're just that. They're literally just like some random dude calls you up on the phone and gives you some tip, and you can either believe him or you don't. You know what I mean? Now, he can make up some believable story and you can go with it. And if it makes sense, you think, oh yeah, that might be pretty true. Or if you want it to be true, then you can will it to be true, right? So that could be an issue. But with whistleblowers, it's very different. So whistleblowers, if you don't know anything about whistleblowers, they uh, actually report to Congress, and they're actually sat down. They give their story to Congress under oath, right? And if any of their story is debunked and found that it was not true, they will go straight to jail. Do not pass go, just go straight to jail, right? And they get big fines and everything else. So there is huge credibility in whistleblowers when they come out. So when they, because, they got everything to lose. They got their name, they got their reputation, they got they got everything, to lose. Especially talking about aliens, you know what I mean? So, but what really makes me wonder, I like to be, I like to look at all angles, and one thing I noticed, like in his face, he definitely didn't seem like a guy that was scared. You know what I mean? He definitely seemed very confident, very sure of himself, and that's a good strength to have. You know what I mean? And especially if was very high ranking, pressure. You know, he's probably dealt with a lot of pressure in his life, and maybe he's totally comfortable in that situation. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have to be sitting there shaking in his boots and for you to believe him. You know what I mean? Or crying or whatever. But you know he's like, hey, this is information. Believe me or not. Have a nice day. What makes me wonder, okay, is why, I always ask why. Why is this guy coming out now? Okay. So it seems to me like there's a lot of drip, 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 drip over the last few years. And, because like, the military came out with these videos, right? And, said, oh yeah, there's these objects floating around. We don't know who they are. They definitely look non-human. So what's that saying? You know what I mean? That's saying there's basically UFOs out there, right? And now you got this guy that's coming out as a whistleblower. And I didn't mention this before, but I was watching another video, and they claimed that he actually got permission from the US government to speak on these topics. And so if the US government is giving him permission and no one is coming out and debunking this guy, no one's coming out and saying like, hey, this guy's full of it. We deny everything, so why is that? Why is the government, usually a non-denial is usually an admission, you know what I mean? So it's so if the government is basically admitting that this stuff is true by not denying it, then this guy sounds pretty credible, you know what I mean? And let's keep watching. There is one other thing that was kind of interesting. So let's keep watching here.
The Pentagon has released a statement to News Nation about this report. They say to date, AARO has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. AARO is committed to following the data and its investigation wherever it leads. AARO, working with the Office of the General Counsel and the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, has established a safe and secure process for individuals to come forward with information to aid AARO in its congressionally mandated historical review. AARO's historical review of records and testimonies is ongoing and due to Congress by June 2024, and AARO welcomes the opportunity to speak with any former or current employee or contractor who believes they have information relevant to this historical review. And Elizabeth, we know.
So this was interesting. So basically, Arrow, the company that he worked for, is coming out saying, we have no records of this stuff. You know what I mean? Which this guy, this whistleblower is basically saying, yeah, that's what I'm complaining about. That's what I'm whistleblowing about, is that you guys don't have this information when you should. So that's something to think about there. So, all right.
That David Grush, he's filed that whistleblower complaint. He's been on the record under oath, testifying to many of these things that he said in our report tonight.
Right, and it's important to point out that this statement from the Pentagon from Arrow, Grush is alleging that this top secret program is keeping it a secret from Arrow.
So. Yeah, exactly. And if Grush is, what he's saying is true, the spokespeople, all of those folks at that level wouldn't even know this was going on anyway.
All right, I got to ask you, he has a compelling story to tell. Very little of it seems like firsthand knowledge. Isn't he just repeating what somebody else has told him or somebody else has showed him?
Yes, that is what he's doing. But he says he's talked to a number of people who are in very, very high level positions. He also had basically the highest level of classified material information that he was able to receive. We went back and checked over, his history, all of his credentials. Check out completely. Unfortunately, there's
in addition, a couple people have come forward publicly to vouch for him, people who are high ranking.
They have. And this article first came out this morning, and I think it's interesting that, there hasn't been any sort of effort to discredit what he has said either from the Defense Department.
Exactly. So interesting. So what happens, and have we had any reaction, by the way, from members of Congress who have been taking this seriously in the last couple of years? We've seen congressional hearings. We've seen NASA's hearing just about a week ago on UFOs or UAPs, whatever you prefer to call them. We've seen the DNI give a briefing to the White House on this. When we've been hearing whispers and rumors for years. I remember even former President Trump, when he was in office, sort of saying, "Oh my gosh, if you knew what I knew about UFO."
I remember that.
So there's always been this intrigue.
There has. And think about it, Elizabeth, if you go back 15 or 20 years, if we were sitting here talking about UFOs, people would think that we were nutty. Now it's gotten to the level of where it is somewhat accepted because the government has come forward to a certain extent and acknowledged that there are these videos that exist. The Navy has released the videos themselves and said, we're not sure exactly what this is that we're seeing. Of course, what Grush is saying really just sort of takes it to the next level.
Boy, it sure does. It's almost impossible to believe. All right, Brian Nenton, thanks so much.
That's the end of the video. So I just find, let's kind of go back. I just found it kind of interesting that they were basically saying that, okay, the government's basically admitting, coming out with this information and, like drip, drip, drip. And now they have this guy out there that they gave permission to basically say that, oh yeah, we not only have these alien spacecraft that before we were saying that we didn't know what they were. And now there's also saying that, and by the way, we also have dead alien bodies, right? So that is very interesting. And then I also saw another video on this guy. It was another video, and he made it sound like there was actually encounters with these aliens as well. So, or UFOs, I should say. So there was actually, we actually attacked or tried to subdue these UFOs, and at one point they actually attacked back. And I don't know if it was self-defense or what, but that was very interesting. And of course, they couldn't get into the methods and techniques and stuff like that. It's all classified and blah blah blah. Of how they subdue these UFOs, but or if they did it at all, I don't know. It was very unclear. But I thought it was really interesting. So what do you think? Comment down below. Do you believe in aliens? Do you believe in UFOs or UAPs? And if you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe down below, and peace out.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.